Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio, episode 147. It's New Year's Eve 2019. My name is Dr. David Dizer. I'm your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Amy Lane. Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's jump into it. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I love that we're doing a New Year's Eve episode.
Yeah, New Year's is kind of our jam.
It is our jam. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is a good night for us, usually.
Yeah, it's not too bad, usually.
Usually. Now, just after our day, it's like there is nothing left in the tank.
No.
Zero.
We're both pretty tired.
But it's New Year's.
It is New Year's.
We've got things to do. We've got things to talk about. We decided to do an episode tonight because this is one of our favorite nights of the year. And
it's so funny. I was thinking about like what we do for New Year's, and I was thinking about how for probably like the first 7 years, people were mad at us.
Oh yeah.
Because we wouldn't go out.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't party. And everyone would be like, I don't get it. What you two are doing, you're so weird.
You're so weird.
I don't care.
Did we even RSVP tonight? Maybe. It's different now though, because the kids, one is in bed at 6:30, the other's in bed at 7.
One starts going to bed at 6 p.m. Your social life, there's only so much you can do. You can tell people I'll try my best, but and you know what? I'm at a place where if people don't understand, I'm just done explaining.
You know what?
You know who it's the worst for?
Who's that?
Me. So to hell with anyone that doesn't have compassion.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's a season.
Exactly.
It's a season of life. All that being said, the only reason I would have even gone out tonight is for them, because I like harnessing the energy of New Year's. Mm-hmm. I like zoning in. I like reflecting. I like contemplating. I like really going through what worked, what didn't work. I like looking at last year's goals. I like revisiting 5 to 10 year goals, and I like, actually making a plan as to what's going to go on.
Right.
And it's all the things. I like planning out health, relationship, travel, business, all the and then all the lofty goals, the big stuff that it's I don't know how this could ever happen, but I'm still very passionate about blank.
Yeah.
I like that. I enjoy that.
Me too. We've never been able to. We've always wanted to accomplish that on this evening, and you can't do that if you're coming home from a party or something. It just hasn't been our thing.
It feels like a waste to me. Yeah.
Although our girls love to party, and that'd be the only reason why we.
Well, they like to party, but I like harnessing these moments of energy, and I think this is a very powerful night because it's the end of a decade.
The end of a decade.
And I gotta tell you, I'm not sad about it.
No.
I am box it up, put it outside, light it on fire. Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm really done.
This is actually quite liberating.
It's pretty liberating. I mean, this. It's been rough, man. It beat me down. I am tired. And you know how a lot of people are I've been through a really hard time and I'm a better person because of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a better person.
Never say that.
No. I'm definitely not a better person.
I feel like that all the time. And you're no, I'm worse.
No, I'm totally worse. I'm just beat down. I'm getting closer and closer to just turning into Larry David. That's what I feel.
So funny. I think that's really important to bring up, because a lot of people do go through that. And if you think about where depression stems from, and they go, okay, it's
the expectation.
That's right.
That all these quotes on the internet. I've been through a really hard time. Now I'm supposed to be this beautiful woman on a beach going, and I'm here. No. Sometimes you just get really beat down and you're just what was that?
Don't you know? I went through a really hard time.
And you know what? Sometimes you don't just bounce right back up.
Right. I
think when I was younger, I had some delusion left. So I think I bounced up faster and was that's all right. You just take a hit and you're you know what? Tomorrow's going to be magical. And you just keep, but as you get older and things get rougher, and the things that happen are more serious.
Yeah, right.
It's real stuff. It's people passing away. It's people sick. It's, change in life. It's fear. It's real stuff. It's not just like, oh, he doesn't like me. I wish my boobs were bigger. That stuff doesn't matter.
For sure.
So it takes more. It takes longer to get back up over that hill. And the whole, I'm better because of it. Nah, I don't feel that way. But,
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's okay. I mean, it's helpful to talk about it like this. I mean, I see so many people in the exact same situation where their surroundings are saying, you should be stronger now.
Yeah.
And inside they feel, no, I'm definitely weaker now.
Yeah. The strength takes time.
Yeah, it does. Well, I think it also speaks to when the things that you have been through give the sense or put you in the place of loss.
Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah. It's completely different.
You're going to get stronger when you lose something. I mean,
yeah. And
you can. It takes a certain mindset.
But also, there's a lot of things in life that aren't, I think that we have a delusion that things are like happening and then not happening. There's a lot of things that, in the background of my life that are, I can't find that, like, persistent. Like, they're not like, it's not like this is how it's resolved and then it resolves and, oh, that was a bad time. There are things that, like, have been consistently an issue for ever. And they just, like, dip down to terrible, then back up a little bit more. And, like, those things, and they're other people. They're out of my control.
Yeah, right.
So it's, it's sad. It's hard. And, like, what do you do with that? Exactly. Especially when you can't be proactively a solution. There's just stuff that goes on.
Definitely.
Well, and like I said, like, as you get older, like, I mean, within this year, I don't know, like, every month someone I knew passed away.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, that's just...
It's gonna be consistent, too.
It's relentless,
That's hard.
And even, like, if you can be, like, some people, like, had a wonderful full life and, like, whatever.
For sure.
There's just a lot of sad, tragic stuff that, like, you can't, like, if you're an empathetic human being, no matter what, even trying to be, like, objective about things, it's hard.
It's really hard.
Actually, I was talking to someone that I love that's going through a really hard time. And I was saying how I'm so over 2019. I said, I feel really terrible saying that to you. Yeah. I said, because you've obviously had a way.
It's been worse for you.
It's been way worse for you. Like, you win. And, she said, and we were talking, and I said, but I've been contemplating a lot in my thought because I've been trying to hold back saying this year to this person how hard things have been for me. But I was saying it doesn't help or change your perspective when you're having a hard time. Like, a lot of the times, if you turn to, like, something horrible and say that is horrible, it doesn't really elevate you. No. It's not helpful. And anyway, this person going through a horrible time was like, yeah, totally. It doesn't make your time easier. Like, I totally think you've had a shitty year. Okay. And I thought that was interesting.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't find value in perspective?
It's not about perspective. Like, I think when I was younger, I'd be like, this was really hard, but, people, whatever.
Like starvation.
Right. Like, that's horrible. And, like, you could perspective things. But, like, I think as you get older, like, just when you get in a really hard time, I don't think that's helpful anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
And by hard time, I just mean, like, the grind of life.
For sure.
And, like...
Yeah, it can be helpful. Like, even in that sense, it can be helpful. Like, for me, in the moment, I feel like I can rise up. And then the next day, the grind is still the same. Yeah. It's relentless. Like, okay, what am I going to do? Use this again?
No. It's like...
You feel like you're just talking trash to yourself.
Yeah. Like, I remember when we had True, and we had to be readmitted into the hospital because basically I didn't have milk for 6 weeks. Yeah. And anyway, the pediatrician, like, they just kept checking her bilirubin levels, and they just kept pricking her foot, and she kept having to go back in the machine, and I was just getting anxious and more anxious and stressed about the whole thing. And then one of the pediatricians that were on call, he just looked at me and he was like, there are babies that I'm pricking every hour. You're fine.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, obviously that's true. Obviously there's people that lose children Okay, if you want to go dark on me here, buddy.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand that, but that doesn't take away like my experience as a first-time mother concerned about my child.
At all.
And
that's just a guy being
No, but it's not. Like, I feel like in society, like a lot of the times, like, you know, I remember when my dad passed away. I remember people would say, well, I had a friend that lost her dad in high school. At least she had him till 25.
At least she had him till 25.
And then, you know what I mean? And then my sister that had him into her 30s and had children.
Yeah.
Like, how do you like weigh that?
Come on.
Like, you
That's
can't.
not,
She had to look at her children and explain that their grandfather's gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all terrible.
Yeah, people are weird. I feel like people just don't know what to say.
They don't.
They can't even.
But
they can't
also,
really believe that.
But sometimes people are in a fight for no, I've got it worse.
Sure.
And like, what I'm trying to say is, I don't have it that bad. I've just been beat down for a while.
Yes.
And I'm tired.
We need some wins.
But also, like, when you have kids, you don't have time to rest. And, like,
right.
A big part of me as a human being and how I succeed is thinking.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but I need to sit down.
Well, you know.
And I need to be alone.
I see it. It gives you energy.
It does. I need to be alone. I need to work stuff out by myself. And having children, you are not allowed to do that.
Right. I feel like you're pretty young to recognize that, though. I feel like that's a good thing. And now that if we can facilitate it, we can...
2020.
2020 is the year. I mean, look at us. We're podcasting very quietly in between two sleeping children.
Yep, look at us.
Look at us. I don't know. I feel like that's been a common theme of the last 10 years is like, well, the stage that we're at in life anyways. These last 10 years have been about kind of growing up for me anyways. And partially learning about ourselves. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's been a difficult time in many ways. And it's been a weird time in many other ways.
I know.
What the kind of steps that I thought we could take tonight to discuss would be like, initially, what was different 10 years ago? How is the world different now? How are we different now? We shared a picture today on social media of when we were like 10 years younger. And I was saying, like, okay, all these people are sharing photos of them being 10 years younger, and they look either the same or they look younger now. And you look the same or younger now. Like, you look so amazing. And I am the only one who looks 10 years older.
Yeah, but you looked so young that it would be weird if you still look like that. Like, I would not be into that.
I see how you can say that.
Yeah. I don't think you look old. I think you look like normal.
Well, you were saying like that I didn't have any. It looked like I couldn't grow facial hair, even though I was just clean shaven. I was a military officer at the time, and I was like high and tight, clean shaven, and super skinny. And
it's funny because on that, 10 years ago, I was trying to learn how to type.
Oh my God.
I was typing.
You make me sad sometimes. I
was typing with 2 fingers. Remember? My index fingers. But how you, like, I would like to get some of the balls back I used to have. Yeah. Because I was sitting there typing with 2 fingers. I had no idea what I was doing.
No idea.
And I was like, I'm going to start an internet business.
Yes.
And, like, what? Who is that person?
You're so funny. You're like, okay, so you look at me and you're like, I think we should have an app. Like, this was before apps. I think we should have an app.
I know.
Like, you know, just going out there, even though at the time you couldn't even type.
I know, it's crazy.
What if we had a program where instead of I see one person at a time, they just email me if they have a question?
It's amazing.
And they're like, what are you going to do? Respond to emails with your one finger typing? You're like, yeah, I'll just do it.
And I did.
And so you did it. Man,
And then I became the fastest typer on earth.
Basically. 3 hours responding to emails. How many did you do? Well, I did about 10.
Oh. But then I could cut through hundreds in a night.
Then you could. You got better at typing.
I was amazing.
You were pretty good.
I'm pretty good.
Pretty good. Well, let's review some of these notes that I have. Okay, so speaking about growing up over these last 10 years, it's been a weird time because it's been the social age. I feel like growing up, or like, for example, we went from mid-20s to mid-30s at this time. Social media has influenced us all. And to go through that stage in life, I feel like that is when people become adults. It's not before 25. It's really not. It's 25 to 35. You have to
go through the hard stuff to be an adult.
You do. Which is making your own money and doing your own thing and becoming a professional in your field and having kids. And that's all about being an adult. and then seeing people die who are close to you, and then being supportive of people, and giving eulogies and speeches other places, all these things. This is being an adult.
And actually having to, like, take care of another human being.
Right.
In different ways. Like, still I hear people talking about, like, how, like, in relationships, like, but the other person's not pleasing them. Mm-hmm. And there's no concept of, like, that's not the role of a relationship. They're not there to, like, entertain you.
Right. So this is the question then. What do you think that the social media age has had an influence on us or others in that sense? Do you think it's a distracted age?
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And it's like, I hate it now. It's like, it sucks because you want to, like, add to it and you want to, like, be in it.
Right.
But I find it just a saturated gong show of just, I can't even take it anymore. Like, even the people I used to follow that I found, like, inspiring, like, say their home or their art or whatever, it's just all ads. And, like, I use this toothpaste. Like, I just can't stand it. Like, I don't care. Definitely. Like, I would go back to getting magazines if I wanted this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This isn't what it was. And, like, I'm not mad at them for getting money.
Oh, no,
get
definitely.
The money.
You need
like,
to do it if you're doing that.
I totally get that. But, like, just, it's so obnoxious now. And then the whole other side of, like, people pretending they have these fairy tale lives. Mm-hmm. They creep me out now. Now that I have kids and I know, like, how messy this all is and, like, the reality of it, it just gives me the creeps.
Right. I think that, we went through a messy time and, we went through schooling and we went through starting a business. And
taking down kids. Careers and, like, building them back up from scratch. Like,
meanwhile, every moment of every day on every social network, it's just constant streams of amazing things happening for other people.
I know.
And we're the ones trying to be adults in this situation. Think of the kids.
Not only that, like, that's what I think about, like, us going through all that. And, like, I think about just even myself when I'm sitting there and I had bought a home by myself and I'm sitting there on the weekends, like, scraping the flooring up.
Right.
So I could save money on getting the new flooring. And then, like, all you see is all these people, all these amazing things happening for them. Like, and it's just like, if you're just a really good person and you just, like, work hard, and it's like, no, my garbage man works fucking harder than you.
Definitely.
Don't try and sell me your bullshit to try to, like, rationalize that you're making money wearing sneakers and going to Coachella. Right. I can't take it.
No.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's how the decade started, and now it's on steroids.
It's on roids. It's out of control. And, like, I don't know.
I don't know what to do. Okay, so this whole point of growing up. Okay, so we've had it's been a distracted age. Like, that's a big time distraction. You're trying to stay focused on a goal.
Well, yeah, because, like, for myself, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I'm just not working hard enough. I'm sitting here on my hands and knees with bloody knuckles, working all day, and then physically, doing this house, and, like, oh, I'm just not working hard enough.
You gotta outsource.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to outsource, David.
No, well, you take out a loan. It's just, like, crazy. The advice, you can get advice for anything at all times to make your life more optimized and more focused.
It's just, anyway, it's a nightmare. And, like, sometimes it's just super hard work and you have to put your head down and do it. And I just feel like we're in an age of, like, fantasy. I don't know. A lot of the times you mill through all these people that are giving all this advice, and, like, it comes down to, like, oh, their parents are the heirs of blah, 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 blah. Like, right. And that's what makes me mad. Because I don't want to hear that.
You're getting me fired up. We're on the eve of 2020 here. We're thinking about Instagram, and I'm getting nauseous on the mic. That's what I'm saying.
I want financial advice from someone that actually made the money.
Yes, not someone selling a program to make money.
I don't even want to hear it from a guy that's in his dad's company. I don't care if you showed up at work every day.
For sure.
I don't want to hear it from anybody that's gotten anything. Mm-hmm. I want the real people. That's where I'm at. I'm, like, trying to, like, boil it all down to, like, the real people.
Yes.
I want to hear real stuff.
You think the real people will stand out?
I don't know. It's going to take a while. It's really congested.
Well,
I don't think I'll ever find them because I can't even be on social media. I can't even support my friends that I like. I have to, like, physically, like, go to their account when I think of it, like, once every couple months.
Right.
Like everything like a crazy person in like one sitting. Be like, I'm really nice. I'm your friend. I like you.
They've got alerts on.
Yeah. I just don't have time.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
It's a nightmare.
Well, I think it's been a weird time for like I feel like this has been like there's a pre-25 Dave and then there's a post-25 Dave. And in the post-25 Dave, it's obviously I became a professional at this time and I started trying to help people, and there's been this social media influence, and then outside of that you're trying to find yourself and build who you are as an adult. And how much influence is all this media having on you? Mm. Like we started this business and supporting people on their holistic weight loss journeys with meditation and self-care. And, you and I were doing visioning, and we were doing daily meditations for many, many years, and hyper-focused on self-care. And then I feel like this distraction of crazy good entertaining media in some cases, and other times just hypnotic media, kind of took over, not just for us, but for everybody. And like, what kind of influence does that have on you as a person? Like how you think, how you act, and all these things. We were talking yesterday or a couple of days ago, about like what is the path forward for having a positive influence on society, because that's really all we're doing. The only reason we're doing this podcast is because we think we have good things to share to help people feel really good and live a healthy life. It's like, okay, do you be famous, or do you create really, really, really good content and then pay to advertise it, or what do you do? And like the constant influence of people telling you what's better is kind of driving me crazy.
Yeah, you have to stop listening to everyone.
And then if you stop listening to everyone, where are you coming from? Are you coming from the things you were bombarded with over 10 years, or are you coming from who you were?
No, you get quiet and you get inspired. And then inspiration is what I think, like anytime that I'm actually interested in someone, not like that hypnotic thing that you're talking about, where I'm like, what is happening? It's inspired. Yeah. It's someone doing their own thing. It's obviously an insulated individual.
Right.
But again, like I don't know.
Well, this is our New Year's Eve conversation.
Walmart's the most popular.
Walmart's the most popular brand. Oh yeah, I know. So, Walmart and Amazon. It's like this is our New Year's Eve conversation, and it feels like it's the same thing every year. It's get quiet.
It's always get quiet. Everything. It's like when I used to listen to Wayne Dyer have conversations, and he said that every time he had a problem, he would call his friend Deepak Chopra.
His friend.
And he would say, go meditate, no matter what the problem was.
Right.
And he'd be like, oh my God, you're so annoying.
I need advice.
But then he'd go and meditate, and he'd get the answer.
Right.
And, yeah.
So, getting quiet, meditating, creating your focus from that meditation. This is kind of what we do every year anyways. Mm-hmm. Where I wanted to...
But I like keywords. That's what I really like too.
You like keywords, okay.
I like keywords and phrases. I find that like... I do like a... Yeah.
Well, okay,
I do like a writing dump of like a creative, inspirational...
Let's talk about that in the context of 2020. A new decade. Okay, so we're coming up on... We need some goals here. We need something to focus on. Now, we usually look at it in sort of like 1 year, 5 year, 10 year kind of not only goal setting, but just looking ahead, like what is life going to be like. And then my question to you is, taking that quiet, how do we separate resolutions from goals? And where do you concentrate that focus? So in your quiet, you're saying keywords, and then do you go straight to resolutions, or do you go straight to goals, or what is your path?
I start with like phrases and vibes.
Okay, phrases first, and vibes.
Because that directs me. Mm-hmm. But then I have some goals. Like I want to this year, every week, no matter what, I want a podcast.
I like that. You keep talking. I need more wine.
That's just the one goal I have so far. And then something that keeps coming up for me is I want to celebrate more. I'm a perpetual celebration restrictor. I've got issues. I restrict good and I restrict celebration. from myself.
So are those goals or resolutions?
That's a resolution, but the goal, I have a goal of the podcast. That's a goal. Like every Thursday I have a plan. Right?
So in you getting quiet, you've got the resolution is every Thursday we're going to do this, and the goal is to achieve a weekly podcast.
Yeah, see, this is what the one part that I don't like doing that stuff with you. That you're getting too, like, into what I'm saying.
Okay. See, this is the difference between us, and this is why we love having these types of conversations. Because your whole point is I'm going to vibe out tonight, and my whole point is I need to plan every waking moment.
Like in 2 minutes, you're going to like, okay, say that again. You're going to write it down. You're bugging me. You're bugging me.
Say that again. In 1 hour we need to do this, and another hour we need to do that.
Yeah, no.
I get it.
I'm going to vibe out first, then I'm going to write it down.
Yes.
I'm going to get my vibe.
Okay.
I haven't had time to think.
No, for sure. I get it. You got to get quiet and go for it. So you suggest that people get quiet, find out what their vibe is, and find out what their what you're lacking, what you want to get rid of, and what you'd like to feel. Yeah. Like feeling is what I go for, because like how I want to feel is the most important thing. Like I think that's going to be the new thing. Right.
That's going to be the new what everybody wants. To feel good.
To feel
literally.
Good. For sure.
The majority of their life. That's going to be the new
And for things
value.
to be easy. Like one of the phrases I've been contemplating over the last week is how could this be easier? And taking that into tonight. You know?
Yeah.
And then like looking at, okay, let's just the day-to-day stuff. Like how could this be easier? Because we're on a real grind right now. I worked about 26 days in December. And the idea here is like we're making great positive movements forward and helping tons of people. But how can we do it easier? And so that's what kind of the phrase that I've been using. Okay. And then is that what you like to do? 1, 5, and 10 year? Or like what's your think back to your vision boarding days.
I focus on the year first. So I go like down the things, the pillars that are important to me. So what I want to do like health wise.
Oh, I get it.
So what feels good?
I like that.
This is all my thing. So when do I feel good? I feel good when I'm exercising regularly, drinking water, and then I go over how I like to eat. Right? That makes me feel good. What feels good? Feels good when I have alone time, meditation, journal, and I'm like doing a spiritual text. That feels good. What else feels good? When I have time by myself. It feels good. Feels good when I'm constantly working and putting out creativity. That feels good. Like I go with the feel because I want to feel good. Like what else is the point of life? I don't even get what is the point if you're not feeling good?
Definitely. It really does come down to that. We were talking the other day about how there's some people with the thought that 2020 will be the year when it's frowned upon to be on your phone in public. Yeah,
and I totally get it.
I think I get it too. I don't know if it's 2020 or 2021, but this person was comparing it to when smoking became frowned upon.
Yeah. I think it's the fast food. I do.
Being on your phone in public is what we're talking about. So the idea here is that like, okay, we're thinking about feeling good. And right now for us personally, I can say to everyone, it doesn't feel good to be on your phone all the time.
No.
And it's so crazy addictive that
I've never liked it. No. I'll tell you one thing that really drives me nuts.
What's that?
Is like I enjoy my phone because I like using it for photos because it's quick.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
Photos and videos. But one thing that's really upset me about the phone, aside from like social media being gross and like all the stuff, is that people demand your response.
Right.
And like I'm very much a person that like sets in my head like, okay, I'll respond to these things at this time of day, or I will do those things like at this time or this time. And Sundays, I don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I set that up. But people like are like, I know you have your phone.
For sure.
Respond now.
Yeah.
And like it feels an assault to me. Like people all of a sudden, because you're capable of being at their disposal 24/7, they demand it. And I
saw your Insta story 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but I'm like,
no, you're on your phone.
But it's none of your business.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between like creativity and like interacting. I don't know. It's weird. Like it
takes different energy systems, I think. Like I really want to help people, so I give out my email. Sometimes I give out my phone number. Like I'm doing crazy stuff.
I asked you not to do that.
Okay.
Like so many
People
times.
People are texting me,
it's
you know what though?
It drives me crazy. Boundaries are so important to me.
I'm seeing a very difficult patient population because I have chosen this as a career to see cancer patients mostly. And
because why make life easier?
Why make life easier? But I really, both of our families have been affected by cancer, and everyone in our town, all families in our town. And I think that our medicine can play a major role in all these things. So I've got lots of reasons why I've done this. But anyways, I've made myself incredibly available. I was texting people and emailing people on Christmas Day, and I should not be doing that.
I can't even.
But, when you see that the email is there and you can have a response that might be helpful, it's very difficult to say no. But anyways, the point that you were saying was that it takes a different energy system than simply taking a photo with your phone.
Yeah, but it's also nobody's business. It doesn't matter how I'm going to break that down.
No, for sure.
It's that people are like demanding that you respond to them right now. It's like, that's what I don't like. I don't want my children.
I don't feel that, by the way, patience. She's talking about a different situation.
I don't want my children growing up in a scenario where they, to keep a friend, have to respond with it right now. Like, I don't want my children that. I want them in the woods running around or like in the city doing whatever, but I don't want them to be like tethered to anybody. It's emotionally abusive.
Yeah, you wonder.
It's not normal.
I wonder what it's going to be like.
I want them to have space.
Definitely.
Like, I feel like we're all communicating. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, we don't have real conversation. I think everyone's communicating too much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it used to be like there was one phone in the kitchen. Oh my God, I sound like, see? I'm turning into Larry David.
Oh my gosh, you really are.
See?
If you haven't seen Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I'm so disgruntled.
Watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and just picture Amy as Larry David.
It's just,
or who is it on Seinfeld? George Costanza?
No, it's just, I don't know.
I'm just kidding. But you're talking about being the grumpy old man syndrome.
Yeah, I totally have the grumpy old man syndrome.
Is this when it kicks? Is mid-30s when it kicks in?
No, it's not. It's just like,
are you sure?
I was 30 when I was like 8.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's been a long road for me.
Because you were 30 when you were 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've been on the hustle since I was 12. I'm just so tired.
Gosh. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
it's a weird time.
The tethered stuff, I just don't like it.
Well, fortunately, we talk about this a lot, like how we talk about this personally, like between each other. But we're really not on our phones in front of the kids, and we do a pretty good job of creating a separation.
I could do better. I'm going to do better in 2020.
I mean, it's mostly just pictures.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I'm always with them. So I do have to answer emails and things and
and text messages. Usually what happens is pictures translate into then responding to text messages like you're saying. You're like, okay, this is something I need to respond to now. And it's difficult to create that separation. 2020, maybe it'll be different. So for me, I look at resolutions as I need to create these habits to make this thing easier. And so I don't look at it like, okay, I'm going to do this fast for 5 days or whatever every month. That's a resolution. No, it's got to be this is going to be a habit that I set up. I should do some type of restriction once in a while and try to stick with that, with the goal being that there is some type of health optimization from that. It's little things. We have resolutions around the house. We have resolutions.
So much is set up that it's different now. I used to have the resolution about drinking so much water a day and taking my vitamins every day.
Yeah, now we've got bigger things going on.
But it's all set up.
Right.
I have my supplements at eye level on the fridge. You know what I mean?
That's what resolutions are for. That's what resolutions are. You set that resolution 10 years ago, and here we are, and it doesn't need to be one.
No, exactly.
That's the ideal.
Yeah. That's why I always think of those types of things as setting up the pillar.
Right.
And then you just have to maintain it, get it up, and then you're good.
And then the mindset is created around it. One mindset I'd like to share with people is one that we try to create for exercise. When it comes to the holistic approach to weight loss, exercise doesn't make a ton of difference. It's mostly about what you're putting in your mouth. Mm-hmm. Exercise, however, can improve your metabolic rate, so you can burn calories more efficiently if you're exercising a lot. But the secondary effect is that you get a major endorphin boost, and it's so good for mood. It's good for blood flow, for brain health, for hormone health.
energy.
If you look at exercise, like if I do 10 to 15 minutes every single day of something that gets my heart rate up, I'm going to have an endorphin boost and it's going to improve my mood.
Yeah.
You look at, okay, exercise, I'm just doing it 15 minutes for mood. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're doing 30 minutes and you're losing weight. Or you're doing 30 minutes and your metabolic rate is sky high and you can have a treat a week or 2 treats a week.
Yeah, well, that's what makes the biggest difference is that you're where you sit. Like when you have your treats at Christmas, you don't all of a sudden not fit in your pants.
Right.
You bounce back.
You have to have a solid metabolic rate, and that's what exercise does for people. And so it's this resolution of saying, okay, I'm going to do this every single day. And it doesn't have to be much, but it has to be something.
Yeah.
And that can be like for you, it's always been water. And before it was you had to sleep at a certain hour.
Yeah, I know. Remember that? Jeez, that worked.
Jeez, that was effective.
That was so effective.
And, we're going to get back to that.
But, like, we're also very, something I always forget. Like, I text people back because, like, I don't look at my phone at night.
Right.
So I get up with the baby at, like, 5. Mm-hmm. So I'll come out and get my coffee at, like, 6. And I'll just start texting everyone back that I missed that night. And I totally forget that people, like, have their phones by their beds.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're so serious about we never bring phones into our bedroom. We don't use TVs in our bedrooms. Like, none of that stuff goes on in our rooms. Mm-hmm. And we keep them, like, in our kitchen. So, away from, like, we never know if anyone's texting us at night. I totally forget that people don't do that.
People don't do
that.
Like,
I'm the worst. Everyone's like, ugh. But,
Oh, definitely.
Don't bring your technology to bed with you.
Don't do it if you need to set a resolution. I mean, that's a good one. I've been obsessed with
everything.
Circadian rhythm management for a couple of years now.
Oh,
I'm obsessed.
I know.
And, there's just so much data to support it. It's that blue light might be really hurting us. And now all these red light companies are trying to capitalize on the
I'm freaked out about all these earbud things now.
I don't know.
All my nephews have them.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. I've been reading about exposures to these type of I've been reading about these type of exposures and the influence that might have on health, and I just don't know. It's probably fine, but I mean, is 100% of the time still fine? Like, can we wear earbuds 24/7?
I've been thinking
and just be all like surrounded by Bluetooth. Like, if you look at my Wi-Fi, even at work, there's about 30 different Wi-Fis, and then 100. It's a coffee shop by my office. So it's 100 different cell phones, all with Bluetooth turned on.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Is that weird?
Yeah, it's totally weird. I've been thinking about something I may do.
What's that?
In the new year. I may try to become good at small talk.
Oh my God, there's a resolution for you.
I might.
Oh my gosh, why would you want to do that?
Well, I have to sometimes participate in this small talk.
Small talk is the worst.
Due to having the children.
The children, yeah.
So at the parks and at the school, I have to have these relationships with these humans, and I have to participate in the small talk.
You're so much better than me already, though.
I'm so weird and awkward.
You're not. You're fine.
I just sit there.
The other day, you asked me if I thought I was a bit autistic. Because of the way that I was acting in public. And here you are setting a resolution to be better at small talk. You're making me feel pretty bad.
You said that I was an autistic communicator.
No, I didn't.
You called me an autistic communicator. I would never forget that.
How many years ago was that?
Like a couple months ago.
All right.
You said because you said that I have no filter. And that whatever is going on, I just say it.
Yes, but you say it in a way that's not harming to people.
Who said that autistic people are harming people?
No, I never said that.
Well, what do you mean?
Like, I think that if I said that in that way, what I meant was you're a relentless communicator, and that you can communicate in such a clear way, and you'll choose to do that with everyone. If there's some type of clear communication or some type of input going some type of output ready to be released, you'll release it in a way that supports the highest form of communication at that moment. It's not like it's going to be trapped inside.
No. So what I'm trying to say is I may try to learn how to do the small talk.
I love this. We're getting into resolutions now.
I might say something like, so the weather.
No, you won't.
I might
vomit.
I might do it.
Don't talk about the weather.
I might do it. I might try it this week. I might take True to school.
Oh my gosh. This is getting weird.
You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just having some fun.
Okay. Okay, so if you're familiar with living in a small town or participating in these type of events with children, the weather is a major topic. And we have no idea what's going on at any time with regards to the weather or the news.
Yeah, I have a friend. It's a joke because she constantly tells me to learn how to read the weather.
Yeah.
Because I'll show up and not have appropriate...
Just frozen.
Just no proper gear for anybody. And I'll just be like, oh. And she'll be like, do you not, like, what do you trust fall into the day? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of do.
The birds didn't tell me in my sleep.
No.
What else?
I look outside. Say, Oh
gosh. Okay, so there's a resolution, some small talk.
You know what? I'm not going to do that.
I think you probably will. Although you're pretty good on the park circuit. I mean, you seem to be the center.
I'm definitely
the kids
not.
love you.
The kids like me. That's all I really care about.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so we've got the 1 year plans. We've got resolutions set. It's habit forming towards some sort of goal. If it's weight loss, okay. Well, it's got to be certain things. It's got to be some type of restriction. If it's exercise...
But you can't come at it from saying restriction. Because most people, as soon as you say restriction, they're just like running to the fridge.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. So here's where the mindset and the emotional maintenance comes into play. And this is where you thrive. And this is where I'm trying to build my skills. But, of course, we come from a holistic weight loss approach, which is heavily centered on stress eating. And it's stress eating reduction or leptin resistance curing and all of the other potential causes of emotional eating. And so it's really important. I lead with restriction. People come to me for medical advice. But when you're trying to lose weight, you have to eat less.
Right. But what I say instead of saying that is you focus on nourishment. So you start treating yourself like a goddess.
Right.
Or a god or whatever.
For sure.
So you, like, when I envision, like, myself, like, drinking a green smoothie first thing in the morning, I think that, like, I'm lighting up all my cells. And, like, I'm, like, giving myself, like, an internal beauty cleanse. And then I set myself up for the rest of the day. Like, I'm not going to dump crap on top of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, like, I'm not in my head thinking, oh, I'm restricting.
Right.
You know?
Right. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I don't, like, go at it from that standpoint. Like, I go at it more like I want to nourish my body with more vegetables. Like, that's always where I come from. More fruit and vegetables. When, like, I have to, like, rezone in or, like, tighten things up, I always go, I want more vegetables, more fruit. And that always leads to, obviously, restricting the other crap.
Right. Well, this is so perfect for New Year's Eve, of course, because what you're talking about is setting a resolution.
Yeah.
And over the course of 1 month, over the course of January, this can become habit formed.
Oh, yeah.
It becomes set in stone.
Done.
Even if it's simply one meal a day. Like, for example, people talk about this with exercise, right? Like the endorphin boost I'm talking about with exercise. How are you going to mess this up? Now that you've got so much endorphins circulating, you're going to make good food choices if you've exercised in the morning just because you're feeling so good. And that's mood-based. It's mood-based. It's the same thing for this.
But you also have to have that thought change, because I used to be the person that would, like, kill myself exercising, and then I'd be so ravenously hungry that I would just grab whatever crap was in my fridge first. And if it was chocolate-covered almonds, then I would.
Right.
So you have to set yourself up for that you're not restricting. It's not a punishment.
Yes.
You're filling up on nourishment.
I like
and
that.
Set your
Supportive.
whole house up. Get all the junk out. Cleanse the house.
Tonight's the night.
Do it while you're strong, too.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's always like, I don't want to waste. Well, like, if things aren't opened, whatever, give them away. But the other thing is, like, putting it in your system.
Yep.
And then down the sewer system is still a waste.
Definitely.
Excess body fat is a waste.
We've been raised to think that that's...
a thing and it's not.
No.
Like, you know.
It's a difficult time for that. I always tell people this. There's carbs on every corner. It's, you know, if you're getting rid of this one thing, I mean, if you really need something or if you really want something, you can probably get it in 10 minutes. And so everything is so readily available. It's so weird in that sense. It's a different time in human history. We have been traveling a little bit sort of just around the province, and we've noticed that the food choices that we have, I mean, we noticed this when we were younger. It's hard to find healthy meals places, but because we were so in it, excuse me, it wasn't terrible. Now traveling around with kids, we need things very quickly.
Yeah, it's different.
And so we're having to make choices, and often those choices are centered on like whatever carbs are available, because it seems like that's the only healthy thing.
Like, it's so annoying.
It's tough.
It's really
We were just
tough.
in Victoria for the weekend, which is why we're explaining this.
Yeah, and it used to be so crazy because when we were younger and we lived there, it was such a mecca for healthy food. It was like not like, and there still is there, obviously. So I'm not saying there isn't, but it's way harder to find.
It's harder.
And the places that we used to love are gone.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And
it's so weird when you're like
even like, I don't know, like just the kids menus that we've been handed while we were there. Like, it's just junk. I would never order one of those things for my children.
Absolutely not. And that happens all over the place. But in Victoria, like, you're in the healthiest city in the country.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about, okay, the healthiest thing on this menu at this restaurant in this city is French fries.
It was French fries and a Beyond Burger.
Come on, canola oil and
Which
French
I'm about
fries.
to say something that no one's going to like.
What are you going to say?
Not a fan of the Beyond Burger.
Beyond Burger's crap. Come on, everyone knows that.
It gives my children an upset stomach.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bad.
It's awful.
And
they're not alone, okay? So I've got lots of experience with this now. It gives everybody diarrhea. It's awful.
Really?
Yeah. It's not just these little guys.
Oh.
Beyond Burgers, it tastes like meat.
And I don't like it.
And so if you like the taste of meat,
not me,
and you want to switch to something that's oil,
I'm just gonna give you the shits. It's a cleanse.
Yeah,
it's
you know
a burger
what?
and a cleanse in one.
I think it's okay. So there's a tricky conversation here, because obviously we should all be reducing our meat consumption.
Yes.
And so this is.
But I'm not a fake meat person, so.
No, you're really not. This is one way to accomplish that, and the ingredients they're not absolutely terrible.
No.
They're just not great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd pick it any time of day over any meat.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that, like, especially these fast food places in small communities are getting, like, a plant-based, because when I was younger, that wasn't a thing.
It's so awesome. People get that choice.
There was only Subway, and you'd go get a veggie sub.
Okay, so here I am backtracking. I think it's great.
No, it is great, but it's gross.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, but also, like, I feel that way about most veggie meat.
Yeah, most veggie meat is
it
like that.
Grosses me out.
Yeah.
It all grosses me.
So we're at these restaurants where the only thing they can have.
Yeah. These little, this veggie burger and fries. For whole things.
Oh my goodness.
My babies.
Anyways, it's tricky. So we've got resolutions set, and then usually what we do is we set goals, and we focus on two different types of goals. Usually we're talking about goals that are things that we can shoot for, like quarterly goals, for example, whether it be with health or with business or with adventures. And then we talk about lofty goals. Mm-hmm. What if things were the best they could possibly be?
And I'll tell you my purpose for the lofty goals.
Share with me.
It's to inspire myself, because I'm a crotchety old man, so I need to be inspired.
You do.
And I work better when I'm inspired in all aspects of life. I need that. But also, it reminds you that you can surprise yourself. You and I can become both very literal and very stuck in, okay, this step, now this step, now this step, now we do this.
That's my favorite.
And that has proven to us time and time again to hold us back.
Yeah.
We have made some of our biggest mistakes from doing that. We've also had some great successes from doing that.
Sure.
But you need to set the lofty stuff up so that you open your eyes and you are open to a greater good that maybe you are not right now looking at. If you just stay in the step to step to step, you have the blinders on and you're not seeing the bigger picture. Like just thinking back to 2007 when I was like, I'm going to start an online business. And I couldn't type. And I had no idea about the internet. It's all insane and stupid. And like anybody would be like, that's not going to happen. But I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, that shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't have had that level of success.
Right.
Right?
It was because of...
my insane, lofty... Why not?
Well, it's funny. We talk about how we started this. Mm-hmm. And how things evolved. And so you had this lofty goal of, okay, this can be a big online community and program where people can sign up and they can get all the benefits of the program and still have access to me and I can make it work. And even with that being the lofty goal, we started with, let's build individual programs for people. Like every month, give them a different protocol. Yeah. Starting in September of 2009, we officially launched the website on something that we built by ourselves. We built everything has been built by ourselves. Well, I don't know why I said that, but we started this and we did every single month. We gave every person a new program.
It's insane.
Foolishness. But over time, we knew what it could look like. And so eventually, within a year or so, we set it up differently so it was easier. And just as effective, if not more effective, because we had lots of experience with different protocols at that time. And so it was the lofty goal that really supported the evolution of it.
But none of it would have happened if we didn't have the lofty goal, if you hear what I'm saying. Because the step-by-step would be, okay, Amy, you become a holistic nutritionist, become a personal trainer, then you go out on the street and you train those people one-on-one, then you build a reputation, then you go to school and learn how to type, then you better go take a web design, then you have to get enough money to get your website built. Like, that would have been the step-by-step, and that's where we would have stayed.
You're right.
If I wasn't...
stuck in a step.
Yeah, you can't, like, you have to have the step-by-step, but then you have to also have the also this, like, the bigger thing. You have to, like, have the, that's why, like, when I do prayers, I'll always say this or better. This or better. Because, like, there's lots of things that we don't know.
Yeah.
There's,
This type of thinking and then acting upon these thoughts takes serious guts. Like, when we look back at your story, I mean...
David, nothing in this life doesn't take guts.
Yeah.
That's worth it. It's all the not acting on, like, being brave that holds us back.
Do you think that fortune favors the brave?
I think fortune favors those that are born into it. But I think that the brave have better lives. Yeah.
Better lives, yeah.
Because, to be brave, you don't care what other people think.
Right.
And you break out of that, and at the very least, you do what you want to do in
Easier
life.
To be
and you have the life that you want.
Right. When you started this journey, you sold a business. And then, through schooling, led someone else's business as a spa manager.
Well, yeah. I don't know why I did that. That was weird.
Well, because we were centered on steady income.
I know, but at the same time, like, I had made money.
No, I know. Even though you had lots of money, still that was weird. The thought process.
I know.
Steady income. Gotta have
steady income all the time.
So you led someone else's business in the same field while you did your schooling. With the goal in mind, like, okay, I'm just going to continue this schooling, and then we're just going to launch this thing we have no idea how to do. And we did it. And so that's the motivation that we want to kind of leave you all with. Like, even if you have no idea how you can accomplish whatever this lofty goal is for this year or these 5 or 10 years, whatever you decide to do, we recommend, like, thinking about all of them. What will I look like? How will it look amazing? And not how to get there.
But the other thing I want to say is, there's also this sale of, like, delusion that, like, you find your dream, what you want to do, and it's all just going to be peaches and roses, and then if it isn't, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
None of this is that.
None of this is that. No.
Now, like, being an entrepreneur is constant attention, work,
and hyper focus. Being an entrepreneur is attention, work, and hyper focus. It's everything. It's all the time. And so,
that was a Lamborghini.
That was Lamborghini?
I just drove by.
And that's a baby.
I woke up my...
Okay, so we're back. Just a minor interruption. Doing a podcast between two sleeping children. Not a big deal.
No.
We're going to leave you leading into 2020 with a conversation about defining a decade. A lot of different podcasts have been doing this, radio shows, etc. I don't know. 2010 to 2020 was really weird. It's not like we're going to look back at the 10s and be saying something exactly specific. Maybe social media age, people will say. I don't know. What do you think?
I have no idea.
I heard some radio show hosts talking about it being all about Beyonce, which I thought was, I don't know. I don't see it as that. Some people say it's all about the Royals coming back in. I really think that, it'll probably be remembered for the connectedness. I think about pre-2010, in our teens and early 20s, it was like ICQ and MSN, and then it was immediately into social media full on in our 20s. So I think I signed up for Facebook in like 4th year of university or something, or maybe even 3rd year of university. So Facebook became popular, of course, in the 10s. And so that will be remembered for that time.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of health, everyone became a lot sicker. Now, we have an aging population, but I don't know. What do you think about the 10s, if anything?
I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird to think about, because I feel like there was like the rise and fall of like the fitness stuff within the 10s.
There was?
Like it got very heightened. Like everybody can be a fitness model person. And then it kind of, then went back down to like, oh wait, that's really hard. So let's all just be healthy.
Okay.
But then everyone...
Why do you think that happened? Just because it's so difficult, or
yeah, it's so
not worth it, maybe?
Well, it's a full-time job, and everyone already has full-time jobs. And then I think everyone also wants to be happy. People want to like also have full lives, and they want to travel and drink wine, and not just that one thing.
The people on the covers of fitness magazines, they do not have, not only do they not have cheat days, but they do not veer off of a very specific restrictive diet.
That, or they're there because they are genetically gifted.
That happens too.
Because they're like, I read a story about this one girl, like the girls that I knew that like trained their whole lives to like go and do this one fitness event, like years and years and years to prepare whatever. And then there was this other girl that was like walking somewhere in a bathing suit, and someone's like, you should do a fitness show. And then that weekend she did, and she won. It's that like Alicia Marie or whatever.
Whoa.
She was like the most famous, and she just has that body.
Wow, that's amazing.
Like she didn't start working out until after she got in the fitness industry.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow. Most people are really punishing themselves.
Well, I mean, it's their job and what they're into, but I mean, that's a whole different beast.
Oh no, for sure. You can't just be some Joe Blow getting into it.
You're just not going to get there.
No.
So I think everyone's like, oh.
And then everyone who was sort of in that realm transitioned to, let's be as healthy as possible. And that's been a really positive movement.
Yeah, healthy and feel good.
In general, in terms of like population data, I think people have gotten a lot more overweight.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot sicker over this last 10 years. And it's probably due to stress.
Yeah, it's rough. It's been rough for
and it's
people.
A different type of stress.
It's a different type of stress.
Like humans are used to like war stress.
This is stress coming from all sides. And the call is coming from inside the house because no one can get away from it.
Right.
It's screen on screen on screen on screen of assaults on people.
What do you think the major things are? Like, I know on day-to-day, of course, there's like, everyone has family things and everyone has life and death type of things. I think people watch a lot of news before bed, for example. I think people are distracted all day, for example.
I think now it's the beatdown of like, just your everyday life isn't good enough. It's not valuable. It's not... you are not special because you are not these things.
Yes.
And some of the, like, a lot of, like, people my age, like, views and followers equals value. And that makes me so sad for grown women.
Definitely.
Like, it's kind of embarrassing, and it's also really sad. Like, these are grown women. Like, I was in an experience at a hair salon with, like, a quote-unquote Instagram popular person in the city. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, whatever, like 100,000 followers or something.
Yeah.
And she was acting like a complete jerk. And I was just, like, embarrassed.
Right.
Like, that is a thing in our culture. Like, I was embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I felt like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, this is ridiculous.
It is.
It's not a thing.
Like, okay, so if we set the tone, like, okay, it's her profession to be this social.
But people are like high, like they believe it, and like
in like in all circumstances.
But it's just really sad because like it's gonna fall in on itself.
It is.
It's inevitable.
What do you think of Instagram getting rid of the likes?
I mean, I like it. I think it's good.
I think it's good too. I think it has really no impact.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Like, when I think of children.
For sure.
I don't really have an opinion as an adult.
Well, no, but getting away from the number, I see what you're saying.
I think for children, especially. I think, like, I worry for the kids. Definitely. I hope this does collapse in on itself.
I think it will.
Because, like I said, these grown women I know are acting crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
For sure.
It's not healthy. And anyway, I think that, like, one of the biggest stressors for people is that they don't feel that they are valuable, because like, to be valuable now you have to be all of these things plus be like quote unquote Instagram famous. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. I can't even take it. It's so stupid.
Definitely.
You have to have everything perfect all the time to a level, like, these people like the Kardashians, aside from like all the extra stuff that I won't even go into, to have it all together in the way that they do, they have unbelievable amounts of staff. Mm-hmm. You know, and these people, these women that are like working from home and like have a side hustle and like have kids and whatever, are trying to like obtain this level of perfection to say like, I'm good enough too.
See? Yeah.
Like, it's sad.
Even in the business world, one fellow I follow has 20 staff only managing social media.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's like, come on.
I know.
Like, of course you're on all these platforms and it all looks perfect and
of course.
Amazingly
well, it's
produced.
like a bunch of the people that I came up with, you know, they all had all the things.
Yeah.
They all had the designers and they all had PR people and you and I were, that's it. No, it was always it.
It was just us.
We never, you know.
Funny.
It's crazy. Like, you don't know.
It's a weird
anyway,
time.
And I find that there's a lot of people that have money or have backing that are the people that are rising up right now, but they don't talk about it. Right. And they make it seem like they're just the next door neighbor. And
yeah.
And that's really detrimental and harmful.
It is harmful.
Because it makes like everyone else in society feel like there's something wrong with them. Mm-hmm. That they're not on this level of all the things because they're supposed to, like, their money's not going as far. Mm-hmm. They can't do all the thing. Like, why is, you know, and then people start turning like, oh, I'm just not like meditating enough, or I'm just not positive right. enough, or I'm not working hard enough, because this girl that blogs and makes millions of dollars a year says that if I just work as hard as her, mm-hmm. like, you know what I mean? It's all delusion and it's really unhealthy, and I think it's dangerous.
Totally.
So, I mean, humans like self-abuse, so I don't know how it's going to collapse in on itself, but I hope it does.
Well, it could start with this idea of just this whole connectedness model being frowned upon. Mm-hmm. It's like it becoming popular to be disconnected. Mm-hmm. And I could see that happening. I mean, with us, of course, like, we were always thinking about getting out into the woods and like taking days off and separating ourselves.
Because that's value. People, yeah. That's actual what's important.
Right.
That's actual wealth. Wealth mm-hmm. is going to be being happy, having time, doing what you want, not like sitting there like scrolling. Why would you want to do that?
So do you think one other thing that might have defined the decade would have been the first world wealth divide? Like, because we had this financial crisis in 2008, and then leading into 2010, people were still bouncing back, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And like you and I were talking about the other day about how a lot of the rich people were not affected.
No.
And they, in fact, oftentimes thrived. And so now we stand 10 years later, 12 years later to be exact, with a major wealth divide.
Yeah.
and not only a migration to the cities, so small towns getting smaller, and a wealth divide occurring in small towns, but especially between cities and small towns. I think that eventually that we could be looking back on the 10s and being like, okay, that will define it. We've got another divide. We've got a minor crash. We can consider it minor. Maybe leading to a major crash, or maybe not. But a major wealth divide leading up. You and I have even... We basically just, by chance, quit watching NBA basketball because it makes no sense now to be making $30 million a year to dribble a basketball. But... that's happening in every single industry. But from CEO down to employee number 1,000.
Well, it's not only that with the NBA. Like, I just got to the point where I can't listen to these grown men complain when, like, I know what's really going on out here.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, again, like, I know you worked hard and you achieved your dream, but, like, everybody that I know is on the hustle. And working really, really hard to achieve their dream, and they're not making, like, they're never going to see. Right. So, I mean, like, I just think I just feel like there's a big delusion.
There's a big delusion. Do you think it will change? I mean, when I was a kid, everyone thought they could make it.
I think a lot of people think they can make it,
Yeah, okay.
I think there's a lot of that delusion.
Yeah. Well, as a grown-up, it's a strange time because you see, like, even in our neighborhood, there are hundreds of homes in our neighborhood, and many of them are worth more than $5 million, which you really do need to be either a CEO to afford this, or you need to be from family cash, from beyond, or be handed down the property. And so if that trend continues, like...
I find that, like, all very, like, depressing.
It's not only is it depressing, but it's just weird. Like, if we look back at this year, like we've got the connectedness, we've got the health changes with just obesity has obviously increased, and now we've got this major wealth divide, and it seems to be quite an obscure thing, and kind of like the bounce back from the last recession we had. Who knows how things are going to go in the next 10 years. But to leave you on a positive note, like, tonight is really about just getting quiet and focusing on yourself and creating a space from these last 10 years.
Yeah, and I mean, I would, like, turning away from all the noise and, like, what makes you feel good? What would be a life that you would be deeply proud of? Right.
What makes me feel good is like, if I think about, when you say that, I think about all the things you said about how to define the last decade and how we're separate from that now, and how it's going to be very, 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 very common. You'll hear people talk about separating themselves from the internet, for example, and from the...
I think it's totally going to be the new smoking.
Hyper-connectedness. Oh, yeah, it's going to be the new smoking.
It's the new fast food. It's the new smoking. I think I already feel it.
Yeah.
It's cringy.
Well, we've heard about people like millennials, for example, leaving cities and... not only going to suburbs, but branching out into wilderness, for example. I could see being more and more common where we spread out and we take our time. But the 20s will be very, very exciting because it's going to be definitely different in many ways. And I think from a health perspective, of course, all of the information is now out there. Like, you don't need more information.
No.
It would literally be impossible.
Data collection is over.
It's over. And so people will start to get back to the basics.
And I hope so. Just rational.
Yeah, people will. Because, being very, very healthy does not need to be very complicated. People have been very healthy for many, many years. And it's only recently that it's been a challenge to, like, know what it takes and not be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I think people will be able to figure it out by getting back to the basics, and this holistic approach may not even be that necessary. And I say that in a positive sense. Like, because when we talk about it, we talk about, like, you have to manage your hormones and your stress and your mood and your sleep and your fitness and your diet and all these things. eventually it's not going to be that complicated because have this separation from.
But yeah, that's why we do it. We're bringing back the rationality.
That's right.
And then it seems like it's like a lot to digest, but it's not. It's common sense. When anybody actually, we've never put out everything, and people have been like, "What? Yeah. That's crazy." Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's the truth. Oh sense. Yeah, I knew that. You're organizing my thoughts for me. Oh, that's why I do whatever." Like. Always. Mm-hmm. It's like when someone's talking the truth to you, you can feel it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
They go past your like conscious thought and they go right to like your soul. Like it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I see that, and I've had a couple of examples of that in the last few weeks where it's like trying to help people understand that we've been conditioned to consume food in a certain way.
It's not normal. I know.
And like it doesn't make sense for us to be eating a treat every day.
No.
Like you don't have cookies and tea.
Even just like when we broke away from like what went on with our families for the holidays.
Yeah, well,
and how abnormal that is.
I would say all East Coast families. It's totally normal.
There.
Yeah.
But like it's not normal.
No. Do not eat copious amounts of junk all day long for weeks on end.
Also, don't eat until you have to have a nap.
No. If you're having a nap because of food,
that's a red flag.
There was a problem with the food.
It's a red flag.
Yeah, it's a red flag about the food. There's a food problem.
Also, you ate too much. Like, it's just...
Definitely. Anyways, we'll get back to the basics, and that's what this year will be about. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. I think it's been, we wanted to do this to wish you a happy new year and to review kind of how we process things. Short-term goals, long-term goals, lofty goals, resolutions.
They all are important.
Think about being habit forming. January 1st is, it's a big day for us in many ways. We don't put all our eggs in this basket.
No, but I feel positive about the era of change.
Definitely. Why not cleanse it this time? It's perfect.
Why not feel good? Why not take anything that's positive like that in the change, like the winds of change, and take them and make them yours?
Even if you're the kind of person like, okay, I have a day off, I'm going to go to the gym on January 1st. Go on January 2nd too.
Yeah.
Keep it up. That's all we have for today.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere.
I'm all over the place.
I'm on Pinterest.
Are you?
Yeah, I was just on Pinterest earlier today.
Were you really? Cool.
I was pinning Scandinavian Christmas ideas.
Christmas ideas.
For next
December 31st?
Next year.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm on Pinterest.
You're on Instagram at Damie Health, and I'm on YouTube at Damie Health. If you wanna check us out there, and you can subscribe to our newsletter at
Our
DamieHealth.com.
newsletter is like the best way to actually get things to your mailbox.
Newsletter is a good way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening. We want to wish you a really happy new year and all the best for the next decade.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.